Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am super excited to talk to you all today about a topic that is near and dear to me and the women that I work with, and it is prioritizing what you can control and forgetting the rest. This is one of those hard things that's hard for us to do because there just seems to be so much stuff. There are things to do all the time, and we aren't certain all the time where to start and what really belongs to us and what we need to get rid of because it's just not ours. So, we're going to talk about that today. For those of you all who don't know me, I'm Rashida Hatchett, executive leadership strategist. I spark female leaders to create more joy and abundance in their life through the power of self care, self awareness, and self leadership. So let's dig in. All right. So this is a big one for women. We tend to have just a lot of stuff going on. I know that you all will look and go, yeah, of course I do. I have a lot of stuff going on. And for those of us who are women in leadership, there seems to be even more stuff going on. We've got all the things that are with our jobs to deal with. We have the things that are with our families we have to deal with. And then we got all the stuff that's with friends groups, if those things are a part of what you're dealing with. And so there just seems to be all of this stuff. And every time we look up, it seems like there's something else. Those of you all who have been listening to me for a while, you know that I work with a lot of dualpreneurs. These are women who have businesses, but they also work full-time jobs, and they're working in executive areas where they are really in charge of a lot of things. And so there's a lot that's on their plate. And one of the things I hear all the time is I am just uncertain sometimes about how I prioritize what's inside my stratosphere of control and how I get rid of all the rest of the stuff, because it seems that there are people pulling at me all the time. They desire for me to help them navigate these issues and problems, but I just don't have the bandwidth. So how do I navigate that? How do I say, you know what? I don't have the bandwidth and this really is in my bag. And that can feel a little off-putting, right? We desire often to help people. We desire to help them figure out what's going on, to help them strategize through it, come to a resolution, and then boom, problem solved. But when you are a busy, high achieving woman, it is really hard for you to do all the things and be all the things to all the people. And so, one of the things that I talk with my leaders about is understanding what's inside your stratosphere of control and what isn't, and then forgetting the stuff that's not in there. It literally gets written off of the list. It no longer exists. We're not dealing with it. We're not thinking about it. We are not interested. And the reason is that we're preserving our energy. We're preserving our bandwidth. We're preserving what we need to take care of us by setting those boundaries and saying, you know what, if this thing is not something that I need to do something with, I'm just going to forget it. So here's the thing that happens when we don't. When we choose to be everything to everyone, when we choose to pick up those things that are really outside of our stratosphere of control, there are usually a couple of things going on with us, a couple of things that we may not want to admit, a couple of things that we aren't maybe aware of. But here's what they are. One, we're dealing with things we can't control because it's easier than dealing with the stuff we can control. Okay? I'm going to say that again for you all. We are dealing with the things we can't control because it is easier than dealing with the things that we can control. And here's what I mean by that. Sometimes we find ourselves in these situations of mild self-sabotage. When you make it to the executive level, we don't do things that are like fully self-sabotaging because our goal is generally to move forward. We really want to move forward. But there are mild self-sabotages that we have to be aware of. And one of them is working on pieces of a project or working on problems that really aren't fixable. They're not things that we're going to be able to fix because they're outside the stratosphere of our control. Our stratosphere of control is here and it's hanging out over here. And yet we find ourselves playing in this space for a little while, right? It's our form of procrastination. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're not playing in spaces that are outside of your stratosphere of control because you're practicing some self-sabotage. You're ready to release that project. You're ready to release that book. You're ready to do that thing. And yet you find yourself working on something, dealing with something, dealing with somebody's problem that's totally outside of your stratosphere of control. It's a distraction. It's a distraction from the hard thing that you have to do. So we want to be really clear that we have not chosen to look at things that are outside of our control because it's easier than dealing with what's in our control, right? All of this stuff, it's easier sometimes than to deal with what's inside of our control. So be careful that that's not where you're at, okay? And if you are there, understand that yes, I stepped on your toes, and that's okay. We can fix it, right? We can fix it. What we need is some tweaks in our confidence. What we need is to really see how beautiful it's going to be when we release the thing, when we do the thing, right? There's this beautiful growth and unearthing that happens inside of you when you take the leap to walk in your purpose. When you take the leap to do that thing that has been weighing on you. When you take the leap to do the thing that keeps you awake at night. That thing that's burning inside of you. That thing that sets your soul on fire. There's this beautiful level of peace, joy, comfort. This healthy amount of anxiousness because you want to see what it's going to do. You want to see where it's going to go. That happens when you decide to do the thing. And once you decide to unlock that thing, you open yourself up to all of the possibilities of life. You start to get in rooms with people who are doing the thing that you want to do. You start rubbing elbows with folks who are at the place that you want to be. You begin to look and see what's possible in your life. And then you wake up one day and your life is barely recognizable. You've done it. You created the life that you love. You've created the vision for your life that you decided. You created a life you don't need a vacation from. It fulfills you. It opens up everything that you need in order to keep going. Right? But first, you've got to put yourself in position to stay within the things you can control so that you can keep moving. And you don't find yourself hanging out here in the ether of the stuff you have no control over, but it's eating up your time. It's taking away from the time that you could spend doing the thing that you love. And once you start to look at it that way, once you start to shift your perspective and you say, you know what, these things that are outside of my control, these people that are outside of my control, these actions that are outside of my control, they are eating away at the time that I could be spending doing the thing that I love to do. Creating the thing that I was called to create. Sharing my talents, my gifts, my abilities with the world in a way that is sustainable, in a way that I love, in a way that brings me joy, in a way that I just can't get enough of. Okay? So when you begin to shift your perspective about what you're dealing with, you really begin to unlock that next level. You begin to unlock that place where you're destined to be, but you can't get there if you stay in a place of trying to control all of these things that are outside of your control. I know we've all heard this. We can't control people. We can't. What other people are going to do outside of our control. We get to control what we do. We get to control how we show up. We get to control how we contribute to the world. And here's what I know about you. You're ready to contribute to the world. It's time for you to show up in that. So drop all of those things that you're wasting time on because you might be afraid to do the big thing. Start looking at those things as time wasters, and it'll shift the way you deal with them. Your energy around it will shift. You'll make decisions that you don't have time and you can't. You'll disengage faster. You'll set those boundaries because that thing that is truly your heart's desire, that's where you're going to focus. That's where you're going to show up. That's where you're going to give your attention and your energy to, because your desire is to leave behind the legacy that you dreamt of, that thing, that book, that company, that hair care line, that thing that you are amazing at. The people look at you and go, how do you do that? And you're like, I don't really know. It's just who I am. That. You're going to focus there. You're going to give your attention there. That's where you're going to thrive. That's where your success is. Your real success is there. Not that pseudo success that's all about the grinding and the hustle and all of that. We don't do that over here. But that success that's about joy and abundance and freedom and legacy. And that soft life. That's where it's at for you. So before I go, I want to invite you all to come hang out with me at the Audacious Woman Retreat info call. I am hosting a luxury retreat, and this info call is going to give you all of the details. So join me June 16th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to dig into all the juicy details of this retreat, and you do not want to miss this, because when I tell you I have the juiciest of the juiciest things ready for you for this retreat, it is going to be amazing. So join us for the info call. You're going to head to my website at RashidaHatchettMedia.com/Audacious Woman Retreat info call. Okay. That's where you're going to go register for the call. And I will see you all on the 16th, if not before. Y'all know you can catch me live here and there. I don't always tell you when I'm coming, but you know I'm always coming. All right. So I don't want to hold you too long, but until next time, be audacious.